we didn't picture this big family of ours, and we have it, and I honestly feel I went from feeling like, "Oh my gosh, why me?" to, like,
Mm.
I'm really happy that this is me. This is a part of, like, my story here in this lifetime.
Hello, and welcome to the Twin Mom Life Podcast. I'm your host, Jess. I created this podcast to help build community, connection, and most importantly, friendships among moms of multiples. Being a twin mom can be amazing and magical. That twin bond is unlike anything I've ever witnessed, but it can also be isolating and overwhelming. I'll be chatting with other twin moms, diving deep into the twin experience, giving advice on what works for us so you don't have to learn the hard way. Juggling two babies at the same time is challenging, but I'm confident we can learn from each other and figure out how to raise these babies together. Welcome to the podcast. So today we have Brie. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for coming on. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I am a mom of 3. I've got 1 girl that is 3 years old, and then 2 twin boys that they just turned 5 months old. Um, Married to my high school sweetheart. I think that we started dating when I was, like, 16 or so. So we've been together for 15 years, married for 9. Um, we
Congrats.
live in Thank you. We live in Overland Park. We love Kansas City. And right now there's a bunch of, like, FIFA World Cup stuff going on here, which has been fun. I do real estate, but I'm also a full-time mom, so juggling it all has been interesting, and I'm learning and growing as we go. So,
Mm-hmm. It's a lot. I know we were kind of talking about that before we started recording and managing all of that. And your twins are only 5 months old. Like that's
yeah.
a lot, a lot to balance. So, well, thank
Yeah.
you for taking time out of your day to come on and chat with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I feel like our stories are actually really similar. So, I have an older daughter and twin boys in the same age gap. They're 3 years apart. And I have also known my husband since high school. So,
Oh, fun.
yeah, when you said that, I was like, "Oh, that's fun," like, another overlap on our story. So, we dated in high
Yeah.
school, but we, like, broke up and then kinda did our own thing and then reunited in our early 20s. So, we are
Okay.
celebrating 10 years of marriage next month.
That's awesome. We are so
Yeah.
similar with our timelines
Yes, I
and
know, when you're like, "To
things
9 years,"
linked
I'm
up.
like, "Yep, right there, exactly."
That's funny.
So I love that. Okay, so before we hop in today's episode, how did you fill your cup today, or do you have any plans to do so?
I do have plans to do so. So I am going to just like totally put my phone down. Work has been really busy, and with real estate, I've got to be on my phone all the time. But I've got plans to just put my phone away and spend some time with my boys. It's interesting, like, even though I'm with them all the time, I don't necessarily have like quality time with them. Um, and that does fill up my cup, just like not just juggling all the time, but actually just like spending some time with them, like on the floor, where I'm not like, okay, I'm gonna keep you distracted while I do XYZ, because that's really a lot of my day. I'm sure you can relate. Like when you're with your kids, you've got a million other things to do. But that's how I'm gonna fill up my cup today. I feel like I just like need a good reset and to like slow down. I feel like my nervous system needs it and theirs do too. So,
Mhm. I think that's such a good lesson in parenting and maybe especially in twin parenting is, like, slowing
yeah.
down, and you're so right. I feel like a lot of the time I'm like, "Okay, go play over here so that I can fold the laundry or do the dishes," or whatever is on my to-do list, but taking
Yes.
that intentional time I love how you said putting your
Mhm.
phone down, maybe in a different room, and taking that time to just spend with your kids with like none of your to-do list floating in your head. Like I'm going to
Yeah.
spend 30 intentional minutes like just full on playing. I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's sweet and necessary. And like you said, I feel like a good reset. Like not everything is like an emergency
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm constantly reminding myself of that. Like, this is not an emergency. It's
Totally.
okay if the laundry pile is sitting there. It will eventually be folded. And it's not,
Yep.
yeah, it's not an emergency. So,
Yep. Prioritizing and on that same token, I will say, like, I think I told you yesterday I had, like, a mental breakdown just because like, the boys were crying all day to the point where, like, I took them to, the walk-in because 'cause I'm like, "Surely they've got an ear infection." And, like, nope,
Mm,
of course, like, everything looks great. They're just being fussy, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I can't get a break." Like, I'm literally
mm,
wearing these noise canceling headphones around my house because 'cause I'm like, "I'm gonna lose it if I hear, more crying." But I feel like they do pick up on our stress too, and so I'm like, "Okay, work has slowed down for me today, so I'm gonna, like, not busy myself back up again. I'm gonna, like, just." And being a twin mom really does make you slow down. It is, like,
mhm. Yeah,
the universe being like, "You need to calm down."
it's that
The
stupid
fly.
fly. Oh my god. Like, I actually left the door open so that it could, like I am so sorry. The
Fly
fly
out.
is not he is not supposed to make an appearance on this podcast.
I
Because
love it.
I live in Central Texas, and it is hot, and we are having a major
Yeah.
fly issue. Oh my gosh, I'm so grossed out. I'm so sorry. Oh.
No, you're
Um,
fine.
but yes, okay, 3 under 3 is so hard. It is a lot. You have a toddler who needs you. You have newborns who literally are relying on you for everything. And one
Yeah,
thing we were talking about is like when we were chatting before we started recording was sometimes like the hardest part, not the hardest part, but sometimes it can feel like the hardest part of managing your twins is your toddler. Like they have
yeah.
big emotions and they need constant attention. And it's really hard, and you're trying to work on
Okay.
top of that all, like,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
It's chaos. It's just chaos. But yeah, the toddler, it's just like because it's like the boys will need something, and so you're literally juggling and there's not enough hands. And you didn't get the right snack or something for your toddler, and then they're losing it, and you're like, "Okay, I'm fine. The house is burning, but it's fine."
One of my favorite stories about my daughter, she's, like, always been obsessed with spaghetti. So she was, like, having lunch or something,
It's
and
amazing.
she's like, I would like more." And I'm like, "Okay." So I give her another portion of spaghetti, and she's scream crying, and I'm like, "What's up, girl? I got you like, you're so hungry. Here's more of your spaghetti." And she was like, she quote unquote said, "I want a different more."
Oh,
I was like, "That is some toddler behavior. Like, I don't
yeah,
even
it
know what that
is.
means. Can you specify, like, do you want a banana? Do you want a cheese stick?
Yeah.
What does that mean?"
I I say this all the time to my daughter. I'm like, "I love you, girl. We're gonna be fine. All right? Like, just deep breaths. We're good."
It gets better and better. I will say, like, so many people were like, "Oh my gosh, watch out for the terrible twos." We did not experience that with our daughter. Our daughter was like a sweet
Yeah.
angel. And then it was like the second she turned 3, we were like,
"Oh, who's
"Oh,
this?"
ooh," like, three-nager, have you heard that term?
Yes.
That is real. That is real, and I promise it gets better. So I know
Yeah.
your daughter's what, 3.5 now?
Yeah.
It will get
Yeah.
better and better and better.
Yeah. That's what I hear, and so I'm, like, totally holding on to that. I will say even though the 3 years old is hard, it's also so fun because you get to, like, hang out with your kid. They've got a little bit of a personality. So, yeah,
Yes.
it just depends on the day. If you ask me what's more difficult, the twin boys or the toddler, because sometimes this
I
changes.
think that's such a good point. I really do think one of the hardest parts of, like, raising littles is the inconsistency and, like, the
Yeah.
roller coaster of emotion. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get. Like,
Yeah.
one day, it might just be, like, a magical day, and you have so much fun at the park, and then the next day,
Yeah.
you're like, "Everyone has been crying all day." And
Mhm.
it just it's frustrating, like, I know you said you took your sons to the doctor to make sure they didn't have, like, an ear infection or anything.
Yeah.
I think that's
Mhm.
just a good mom, like, crossing things off the list, and then
Yeah.
nothing. You're like, "Okay, so you're just
Yeah.
crying.
Yeah. I was
Great."
like,
And
so
yes, you're like, "What's going on?"
yeah.
I wonder if they're starting to get, like, can you see if they're getting, like, any little teeth or anything?
The doctor, like, checked too. She was like, "No, I don't see anything, but, like, yeah, the the whole teething process is just feels like forever because it's like the before they get teeth, like, their gums are just tight, and then, all the things, and then I feel like we've
Yeah.
hit, like, all of the regressions, all the leaps, and I'm just like, "Okay," every time I feel like we're like, "Okay, good," something else happens, but I can't complain. I mean, they're healthy, like, it's just a season, and that's what I mean, you quite literally, I feel like, have to hold on to when you're a mom of multiples is just knowing that this will subside and you'll
Mhm.
get past it. Like, there's no other way to sometimes survive it, just knowing that, like, first off, you have to laugh. Like, there's so many times where Ian and I, my husband, were just like, "We have to like, this is funny. This is so chaotic. If we don't
Yes.
laugh, we'll cry." So
Yes. That was us. So we took our sons to the zoo this weekend, like a whole family. It was my son's 3rd birthday yesterday, which is just so crazy. So
so
this is a
crazy.
I know, it's so wild. So this is a no party year, but we did the zoo and we had so much fun. We stayed at the zoo significantly longer than anyone thought. Like everyone was having so much fun. And I feel like
Yeah,
now that they're 3, they still need a nap, but like we can push it, you know?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
boy. So the zoo that we went to is an hour and a half from our house. My
Okay.
son, Wyatt, cried the whole way home. The whole way home. We're trying to hand him snacks. We're trying to be like, "Buddy, your body needs some sleep. Like, try to take a nap." No, he
Yeah,
was
close your
just
eyes.
mad. So, not that we're laughing at him, but my husband and I are like looking at each other and kind of laughing because it's kind of the
Yeah,
only way to handle it in a situation like that, you know? So,
yeah,
I feel you on that. And it's
yes,
nice to have, I feel like maybe that also comes with perspective because I feel like I'm able to do that a lot more with my boys than maybe I was able to do with my daughter.
totally. I feel that for sure because you do know that those times pass
Yes.
and it's not you doing anything wrong.
Right.
Nothing's wrong with them either. It's
Right.
just the age and the situation.
Mhm. Yeah.
I feel like I went into like fix it mode all the time with my daughter, and that's something that I worked on in therapy. It was like some things just don't need fixing.
Yeah.
It just is
Yes.
what it is, you know?
Yeah. I think that is such a good lesson and like we said, kind of something that is really hard to learn if you don't have that perspective. Because now we
Yeah,
know, okay, eventually your kids will sleep through the night. Eventually
yeah,
they'll be able to tell you, "Hey mommy, I'm crying because my tummy hurts." Or I mean, in so many words. Like eventually they'll be able to
yes,
communicate more.
right.
And when you're in the thick of it, you really can't see that unless you've had maybe another kid or an experience like a similar experience. So,
Right. I totally feel that, and that's why I feel like moms need other moms and to
yeah.
be able to hold that space to share and to validate that, you're not crazy for feeling this way. All of
Mhm.
us have likely felt the same way. So,
Mhm. Yeah. I know that's so huge. The we have like a group chat with my friends and it's literally titled Mom Friends. And
I
I
love
feel like a
that.
lot of the time it's just us like trying to coordinate play dates, but mixed in there
Yeah.
is like, "Hey, have you guys experienced this?" Like, "My daughter has hand, foot, and mouth. What did you guys do when your kids have that?" And it's just so fun
Yeah.
to learn from other moms and yeah, like, you don't have to learn all these things from scratch, you can learn from other people's experiences, and that was a big reason that I wanted to start the podcast. I'm like, I have learned so many tips and tricks, and aside from that, just, like, the community of being able to talk to other
Yeah.
twin moms, you know? But some things I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dang, I wish I woulda done that." Like, one of my friends actually she hasn't been on the podcast, but I met her at a twin mom play date. She had a mini fridge in her room for, like, middle of the night bottles.
Oh, amazing.
I was like, "That
Amazing.
is so brilliant." So
Yeah,
brilliant, especially if you
it
have
is.
a two-story home in your bedrooms on the
Yep.
upper floor. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's really smart." But
Necessary,
mhm,
necessary. I mean, you feel that's another thing, like, too, like, with we got a bottle washer this time for the twins, and I felt like before I had twins, I was like, "That's a little like, you don't need a bottle washer, you can just wash the bottles." But, like, I'm like, "Nope, this helps me just, like, keep it going when you've got 2 babies to feed, like, and you can just
mhm.
wash, 5 bottles at a time." It's worth it for my sanity,
Absolutely.
so,
Yes. For your time, for your sanity.
yeah.
Absolutely. Of course. Okay. I'm trying to think how I filled my cup today. So, it's early. I think we're both in central, like early. It's 10,
Yes.
10 ish.
Yep, yep.
And my daughter has a camp this week. So she's not really doing any camps this summer. They are expensive. It's like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah, I can
my.
imagine.
So
Yeah.
we're doing like a VBS later in summer, but this she's doing an art camp and she loves it. So it's 9 to
Cute.
12 today. So our whole summer has been very loosey goosey. Like have
Yeah.
breakfast leisurely, but yesterday and today I'm like, we got to be there. We got to drop you off at 9. So we've been in a little bit
Yeah.
more kind of like slightly more rushed mornings. And my husband always makes fun of me. Like if I'm feeling slightly stressed, he'll come in and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm making banana bread from scratch."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh,
I
great. Just
love it.
just add that. Add that on top
Mhm.
of everything." So I did that this
Yeah.
morning. I'm like, "Why
Okay.
not? We're already running late. Why not?" I have bananas that
Yeah.
have been sitting on the counter for a couple of days. It was funny
Just
though
needs to be
because
done.
yes, I was like, "It has to be done. I should do it right now." And he's just laughing at me like, "I don't understand what's happening in your brain." I'm like, "Me neither, but everyone's gonna love
Yeah.
fresh banana bread."
It's just amazing. That is so relatable. That's so relatable.
Yeah, it's delicious. I add a bunch of chocolate chips and it's
Amazing.
so yummy and yeah. So that's what I did, and even though the morning was a little chaotic, it did very much fill my cup. So,
I love that. I love it. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you're like, I mean, I know that it's chaotic, but like this one little thing is might add to the chaos, but it's also going to bring me joy.
yes.
So, got to do it.
Yeah, the joy outweighed the chaos?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I would love to talk to you about your twin pregnancy because you are like a twin mama pregnancy goddess and made it to 39 weeks, or essentially was it 38 and 5 days, which
38 weeks and 5 days. Yeah.
yeah, which is 39 weeks. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us about that and your delivery and any tips
Yeah.
to I know sometimes it's out of a mom's control, but if you have any
Yeah.
tips of like why you think you were able to, you know, be
Get
that
to that
pregnant with
point.
twins? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will say so I had morning sickness. Did you experience morning sickness when you were pregnant?
Oh, girl, it was terrible.
So bad. Like, I
Mhm,
mean, it was bad with my daughter. It was absolutely, like, debilitating with the boys.
mhm. I feel the same way.
So the first trimester was a lot of me, like, just laying around and, like, eating, honestly, fast food, whatever I could stomach.
Mhm,
I ended up having to get on medication for my nausea just because it truly was I use the word debilitating, and I'm not like I usually try to do a bunch of other things before I just, like, jump to medication, and this one was like, if it's not gonna harm the babies, it's safe, like, I've gotta do something to survive because 'cause I've got a toddler that also
right.
needs me.
Right.
Um,
It's a very different pregnancy experience. Like with my
very
daughter, when I was pregnant with her, I would come home from work and sleep all weekends. I would be like
yeah,
so watching movies and just laying down and napping. And then it's
yeah.
like a rude awakening when you're pregnant with twins with a toddler. I
Oh my
would
god.
throw up like making her lunch and she would like narrate it. Oh, that was
Yeah,
a big one, mommy. I'm like, I couldn't smell meat. It was like,
yeah,
oh, I just couldn't. I mean, really the smell of anything. Dog food,
I
I
know.
couldn't feed our dog. I was like, "This I cannot."
Oh, yeah, my husband tried and actually, I had bought him this soap that I thought that smelled really good, and he was trying to surprise me by showering with it, and then he gets out of the shower, and I was like, "Oh my god." He's like, "Do you like the smell?" I was like, "I am gonna throw up." He's like, "What the what the heck? Like, you bought this for me," and I ended up throwing up in our hallway, and I'm like, "That has to like, you have to throw that away immediately, and also just, like, don't come near me." Like,
Right,
the
you're like, "Go
smell
shower
of
again."
you. Yeah, I'm
Oh
like,
my
"I can't."
gosh, that's
So anyways, I was really sick, and I feel like that's when I realized, "Okay, this is gonna be different this time." Like, we talked about, like, having twins forces you to slow down. I feel like it starts with pregnancy, and I'm a really active person. I work out every day. It helps me with my mental health, and I got to the point, like, in my 3rd trimester, like, I just physically couldn't. So, like, I really prioritized rest, and I feel like more moms need to hear that, like, that's okay to
mhm,
prioritize rest. And, so honestly, I took it really easy as much as I could with a toddler and still, like, trying to do adventures and do all the things, but, you don't have to, do all the things all the time. Like, one of my friends told me, she was like, "If all your toddler remembers during this short amount of time is that you guys, like, watched movies, ate mac and cheese for most meals, or chicken nuggets and, like, hung out on the couch, like, that's living the life for them, like, that's okay.
Yes,
Like,
so true.
there's nothing wrong, and it's like and first they won't remember, like, they all they feel is the love, and so because 'cause I'm very
Yeah.
much so like, "Okay, let's make sure we go to the park every day," and, like, there were just days where I just couldn't, and, we just did sidewalk chalk and hung out. So,
Mhm.
um, I really took it easy, listened to my body a lot. As far as, like, the end of my pregnancy, so I thought that, like, I had to have a C-section because I was having twins. I'm not sure, like, why that was in my mind for the longest time, but I was like,
Feel like that's
"Surely
what
I'm
you
gonna
hear a
have
lot,
to."
though. That's what you
Yeah, so,
hear.
it is what you hear. So and it's also, the safest or from what my perspective and my experience is that I had to do it because it was gonna be the safest, and so but my doctor, we really talked towards the end, and she's like, "I mean, you've had a vaginal birth before, it went well, um, baby A is bigger than baby B, so we could give it a go if you wanted to," and I was like, "I mean, yeah, that sounds great," like, not having to recover from a C-section with a toddler
Mhm.
sounds nice. So anyways, yeah, we kind of played it risky because the day that I went in for my induction, um, baby B ended up being breech. Like he was head down for the longest time. And then we were like checking, getting everything ready, and turns out he was breech. And so that was a hard one for me to play mentally because I was like, I still really want to try to deliver vaginally, but I realize that there's a risk involved. Because he's breech. So that was scary for a bit because he didn't like cry right away when he came out. He was a little bit shocked because my what happened was I did deliver vaginally. My doctor kind of helped me grabbing his feet and we like got him out.
Oh,
But
so
they
he
go
was
through shock when that
born,
happens.
like, feet first.
Feet
What's
first.
that called? I fee like
I don't I,
a
yeah, I
footling
don't know.
presentation?
Yeah, but it's not common, from
Oh,
what I
yeah.
hear, and so that freaked me out, and I had immense amount of mom guilt. I'm like, "Should I have just gotten the C-section?" All the
Hmm.
things. But everything turned out to be fine, and I honestly I mean, it's different delivering in an OR, like, that
Mhm.
was not the same experience, like, with my daughter, we were playing, like, Chris Stapleton and Casey Musgraves and, like, vibing when I was giving birth with my epidural, like, it was great. It's a little different in the OR. So,
Yeah, I totally agree. So, were you able to labor in a regular room and then you were wheeled to the OR, like, once it was go time?
yes. Yes,
Yeah,
so I wasn't in the
okay.
OR for very long. It was like, "Okay, we're dilated to a 10. We're gonna go have these babies."
Yeah, that was the same for me, and I will say I had, like, just a bad reaction to my epidural. I was so
Did you?
nauseous. I was so nauseous.
Ah,
So I just remember wanting, like, to be done. Like, I wanna have these babies, I wanna be done. And when we got to the OR, I was just like, "Wow, this is a lot of people and this is overwhelming." And
yeah,
they had asked me ahead of time, like, "Hey, we have some nursing students and maybe some, like, residents or something." I don't know if I'm using the proper term. "We have some students who are
yeah,
interested. Can they view the birth?" And I was like, "Sure." Not really thinking about like, how many people were gonna be in the OR, and it wasn't just that, it was like, was your husband dressed in the full garb? Like,
yes. Yep,
yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. So he was, like,
yeah,
wearing the hairnet, and I was like,
yeah.
oh my goodness." So
Whoa.
that something about that, like, kinda got me all freaked out, and then, like, it's so
Yeah,
sterile and bright, and then there were, I mean, easily 15 people in the room, if not
yes,
more. I mean, because I
yeah,
had allowed students to come in, so and I'm all about that normally, like, sure, like, I'm sure you don't see, like, a vaginal twin delivery all the time, but
right,
in retrospect, like, I might have said, "No, I think I would like to keep it only to the people who need to be in the room because
right.
that already is, like, 12 people, you know?"
Already a lot. It's a lot because people I mean, there's, like it's like all hands on deck with the twin
Mhm.
delivery.
Yes. Okay, so at least your doctor felt comfortable with
Yeah,
baby B being breech, because I feel like some
yeah.
doctors might have been like, "Oh, never mind, like, we're switching to a C-section."
Yes, yeah, it was It was cool. My doctor is I've got a great relationship with my OB. She delivered my daughter, and we just kept, like, a lot of open communication. I told her, like, at any given time that I or the babies are, at risk for anything, like, "Let's pivot, let's switch." And she's like, "Okay, I just wanna make sure that you're okay with that," because sometimes that stresses out moms, like, the idea of pivoting last minute. They'd rather just do the C-section. And I was like, "No, I'm okay with pivoting, like, I really am. I'm good with just trying this out, and whenever you say, 'Hey, I feel like we need to switch,' just do it. Like, let's just do whatever is safest for everybody." Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, she's a bit of a risk taker, but also, like, within reason, and I trusted her, so I feel like that's something that I'm grateful for. I don't know if everybody has that, relationship with their OB, and it's, like, really important, so
Yes. I feel like I had a chat, I think it was with Alexis, and she had a positive C-section experience. I think this is like one of my first, I don't know, like maybe the 7th episode or something. And she was talking about, like, I love the language she used. She was like, I feel like when you're finding a provider, you need to be able to be like,
Mhm.
I could totally have a glass of wine with her.
Yes.
You know?
Totally. Totally.
Yes,
It's
like
true. You
that
want that
comfort level.
relationship. Yeah.
Yes, especially it's like giving birth, especially like more of a risky, or I don't know if I wanna say that word. Like, a situation that maybe not everybody does, not as like a vaginal
Yeah.
delivery isn't as common with twins, you know? And
Right.
there are
Right.
increased risks. Like, you have
Right.
to be so comfortable, and I was so thankful that the doctor I found out here, I had my daughter in a different state, so I had a different doctor. So I love that you had the same doctor. Like, what a
Okay.
special experience to have her deliver all of your babies. I think
Yes,
that's
it was
really special.
very cool. It was very cool. Like, before we started, like, I just remember, like, us, like, locking eyes, and she was just like, "Okay, we're gonna do this." And, like, I got emotional, she got emotional, and because I knew it was our last time going through
Yeah.
all this. Like, we're
Yeah.
we're definitely 3 and done.
Same, same. Yeah.
But,
I feel like twins will do that to you. And, we
yeah.
were happy we were really happy with 1. Like, I'm an only child, and
Oh, you are? Okay.
I am, and I just had a really rough postpartum. So she was born in February of
Yeah.
2020. So, like, COVID hit, and there were so many restrictions, and I felt so isolated, and I had postpartum depression. Like, overall, it was
Yeah.
a pretty bad postpartum experience. So I was kind of
Yeah.
like, let's just have 1, we are fine. And then when she
Yeah.
was, like, she had just turned 2, and we both were like, "Okay, maybe we do this one more time." And we used to always
Yeah.
say, "For sure 1, maybe 2, never 3," which is just funny. Like,
We said the same thing. That's just funny. My husband's an only child, and
"Oh, really?"
so yeah, so certainly, like, we both I had a similar thing, like, I postpartum hit me, and I didn't even know it was postpartum for, like, the
Mm,
longest time. I just thought, "Okay, this is, I guess, what it is," like, just having kids, and, um, that's a whole story in itself. Like, my mental health, to be honest with you, like, hit rock bottom a year before I got pregnant with the twins, and I'm actually thankful for that because I had to rebuild myself a bit and really, like, kind of face some of the triggers, the trauma, the all the things that I've been suppressing. And I don't know if I wouldn't have worked on all those things and if I wouldn't have hit rock bottom that, like, I could have even handled twins, because that was I think it took me, to be honest with you, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but when I found out I was pregnant with twins, I was borderline depressed for a while. I was really worried. Um,
it's a lot. I feel like there were so
yeah,
many times where I was pregnant with them, and it's, like, hard to even admit this out loud because
right,
I can't imagine our family being any other way. But there were some times when I would say to my husband, like, I didn't want 3 kids. I don't
right,
know if I was built for this. Like, I had a hard time in the beginning, well, and throughout my daughter's early toddlerhood, like, managing 1. So I'm like, how am I
right,
gonna go from 1 to 3? And I had a lot of fear behind that. And I feel like I would have, like, a roller coaster of emotions, right? Like, there would be times where I was so excited, and then times where I would maybe have, like, a
yeah,
bad day with my daughter and be like, how am I gonna be taking care of her and then 2 newborns at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
this is wild. I was afraid of my ability to handle raising 3 kids, especially 3 very young kids, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel that, and I think it's, like, so validating. The first thing I did when I found out I was pregnant, well, how we felt like, I had, like, premonitions that they were twins. I found out I was pregnant at 4 weeks, and I thought it was odd that the first line on my pregnancy test was, like, significantly darker than the second one, and I just was like, "That's weird." Like, I wonder why that's the case, and then I would, like, joke with my mom, I'm like, "Hope it's not twins, like, hee hee," and she's like, "Yeah," and then I had these vivid dreams that they were twins, and I was like, "Listen, I've
oh,
got
wow.
OCD. I'm just gonna, like, go get an early sonogram because I have had miscarriages in the past, and so I know that they would do an early sono to just rule this twin thing out. Like, I just wanna, not be concerned about this." So I went to the appointment by myself, and I was just certain that it was not twins.
I
I
can't
feel like
believe
I
you went
knew.
alone.
I did, yeah, my husband was in a meeting, and, right before my appointment, we were, like, sitting on our porch, and I just was like, "I don't know, Ian, I've got this really bad feeling that it's twins," and he's like, "Babe, there's no way, it doesn't run in our family, it's fine." And so I just, casually go into the appointment, and immediately there's 2 sacks, and, like, my sonotech is super quiet, and I'm like, "So, there's just 1?" And she's like, "Take a deep breath," and I'm like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" Like, this can't I go, "We can't, I have to move, I have to get a new car, that we can't do this." Like, my husband's in full-time architecture school right now and, um, working full-time, and I'm like, "No, like, just no, no." Just no. So I come home and Ian's like, "So are we pregnant with twins?" And I'm like, "Yeah, actually."
Like, and as a matter of fact, here you go. Here's the imaging. Oh
Yeah,
my
he's like,
gosh.
"What?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So we took off to my family's lake house that weekend, and, like, it was just a very, like, interesting drive of just, like, we were both honestly in tears because it's also not what we pictured our life to be. You're also feeling, like, excited about the fact that you are gonna have a bigger family, like, that somehow, like, was really exciting to us even though we it's not what we asked for. Um, so yeah, I can relate to what you're saying and the roller coaster of emotions. It's just very intense when it's not what you necessarily pictured your life to be like.
Mhm. Well, and I'm just, like, impressed that you automatically went to planning because I feel like in the sonogram I feel like, again, I feel like our stories are so similar. I really had a feeling that it was twins also. I just
Amazing.
it was so I this is, like, maybe TMI, but hello,
Never with me.
like,
Never.
and whoever's listening to the podcast. So, I got my IUD out and, like, we were, "Okay, like, let's try for 1 more," and I never had a period, like, I didn't have a cycle after that. I just got pregnant with the twins, which was
Oh
so
my gosh.
shocking because I didn't know you had losses, so I had 2 losses before my daughter. Um,
Okay.
and then found out I had a blood clotting disorder, so with her, I had to take, like, an injection blood thinner, and I'm so thankful, like, obviously that worked and everything was fine. So, actually, how I found out I was pregnant is I was like, "I haven't had a period, this is weird, like, maybe I should just start taking an ovulation test." So I took an
Yeah.
ovulation test, and it was immediately, like, registering that I was ovulating, and I'm like, that doesn't make
Hmm.
any sense. Like, the timing, I mean, I guess it could have. I don't know. I'm like, this is just it just, like, sparked to me that something was off. And I remember
Yeah.
reading that sometimes if you're pregnant, it can register a false ovulation test. Like, that can show us positive,
Okay.
but really you're
Yes.
pregnant. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
So I happened to have a pregnancy test and I took it. And again, same thing, dark pink lines. And I was like,
Whoa.
what? Because every time that I had tried to get pregnant and had miscarriages, I was always testing, like, too early where I'm, like, looking
Yes.
at it under the light, like, "Is there a
Yeah.
line?"
For a faint
So
line, like,
yes, "Is there a faint line?" Like, "Do I have line eyes?" Like, this was, like, a thing trying to get pregnant with my daughter and having losses.
yeah,
So when it
yeah,
was clearly, obviously, I was pregnant, I was looking at it, and I just was like, "What in the world?" Like,
yeah.
"What?" And I remember at the time, it's now my son's room, which is funny, but our playroom at the time, my husband and my daughter were in there. This is like a weekend. We're not even trying. I just got my IUD out, like, maybe
Yeah.
2 weeks, a week and a half before. Like, I must have ovulated, like, the day that they took out the IUD. I don't even
That's
know.
just crazy. That's
And then
crazy.
I walk in with the test to my husband. I'm like, "I'm pregnant." And he was like, "No, you're not. Let me see the test." And I gave him the
Ah!
test and he was like, "Oh my God," because it was, like, so clearly 2
Yeah.
pink lines. So
Yeah.
I feel you on that and just the shock of everything and yeah.
It's yeah, it's just a really think to yourself, it couldn't, and I always said, like, before I even got pregnant, I mean, my whole life I've said, like, twins has to be a nightmare. There is no way that I could do it. Like, there's no way that I could do it. And it's funny now hearing or being a twin mom, I don't love hearing that from other people, like, "Better you than
Mhm.
me." I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you're like,
better
"Thank
me than
goodness it's
you."
me." Yeah, exactly. Thank goodness it's me and
Like,
not you if you're gonna have that
yeah,
attitude. But I feel like it
yeah,
is hard when you are processing everything and you are processing the life that you or the family size that you thought you were gonna have and then what it's going to be now. And that was
yeah,
something I feel like my husband said this recently. We were talking about like our dining room table and we're already outgrowing. Like we have a table and chair set that only has 4 chairs. So it worked for a
yeah,
while with high chairs, but now we're kind of getting out of the high chair phase. So I'm like, oh, we need a
yeah,
new table. And he was saying like one day, like, isn't it going to be so awesome? Like when they all have their spouses over and we're going to need this like
yeah,
gigantic table. And we're just like giggling. And we thought we were only
yeah.
going to have one kid. And now we love all of the chaos. I cannot imagine my life a different way. But it took
Yeah,
us some time and some processing to get there, which I think is just real.
I think it's so real, and I think it's so valid. Like, that's what I was gonna say too on that point. Like, when I found out that it was twins and I had some time to process, I reached out to people that I knew. So in Kansas City, there's at least, like, 2 other moms that I know that have a toddler and then surprise pregnancy with twins. So, like, I reached out and I was like, "Am I like, is it normal to feel just like,
Hmm.
how am I gonna do this?" Like, the mom guilt with that, because usually you're just super excited when you're pregnant, or that's been, especially if you're trying, like, but when it's just not what you pictured, it's a roller coaster of emotions, and everybody was like, "You need to feel the feels because you're
Yeah.
not alone." And I
Yeah.
just feel like other twin moms need to hear that, like, you are totally validated. There's times where even now where I'm like, "I love both of my boys. I just maybe wish that I had them at different times, and so I could focus on, like, one at a time, but that's not the card that we've been dealt, and to your point, like, you get used to the chaos, and then you can't imagine it any other way, so
Hmm. Yeah. Twin moms and I guess twin parents in general have to process things a little bit differently. When my husband and
yeah,
I were making the decision to have another child, like I knew I wanted to be a mom and
mhm,
I just didn't know how many kids I wanted to have. And like I said, we were fine with one. So when we were
yeah,
making that decision to have another, one thing that we thought about, of course, is like financial. Like, okay, if we have another
right,
kid, the current cars we have are fine, our house is fine, we already have a car seat, we already have a crib, like, we're really not gonna
mhm,
have to make this big money investment because we already have a lot of these baby products.
right,
So, I feel like when we got pregnant or when we found out it was twins, I was kind of just shocked. Even though I had that intuition, I was still processing that, "Oh my gosh, there are in fact 2."
yeah,
And then
yeah,
my husband immediately went to, "We're gonna need a bigger car. I think our house will work if they share a room, but we're gonna need a bigger car. Okay, now we do need another car seat. We do need another crib." Like, all these things that
yeah,
we kind of didn't think we were gonna have to invest in. Well, now
right,
you do. So there are yeah, I'm just thinking about, like, all the different levels of processing, and that is different when like, if you were just to have gotten pregnant with another singleton, you know?
right, yeah, there's just logistics, it's like,
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
a stroller, how is that gonna work with a toddler? And, like, there really isn't a great option out there for a toddler and 2 twins, as far as stroller goes. Like, we've got
Mhm.
I think it's the Mockingbird, and so Nessie, my daughter, has, like, a little attachment that she could, like, sit on, but, like,
Yeah.
it's also just like, okay, she's gonna have to grow up a little bit faster, like, she's gonna have to walk more places when we go, It's
Mhm.
just such an adjustment, and, um, getting out of the house is completely different with 2 babies versus 1. It's wild.
Yeah. And I feel like on that note, I was gonna ask you, like, processing everything, at what point do you think you were like, "Okay, I'm feeling better about this," even though maybe you still had some fear? Like, was that in your pregnancy, or do you think that was when you started connecting with other twin moms? When do you think that point was?
Yeah. I think honestly, it took me about 2 to 3 months, to be honest, like, to be like, "Okay," like, I'm kind of type A, so I just did, like, a lot of research. I did try to connect with other twin moms. I tried to, like, YouTube other, like, podcasts of people talking about having specifically an older kid, like a toddler, and then twins, because like, that's also a different motherhood, is having a toddler on
Mhm.
top of
Yeah.
it all. Um, so I feel like that's when I and just kind of going through the logistics, like, we didn't need to move, our house totally works, like, yes, I needed to get a different car, but that was attainable, there's certain things once I started to check those things off the list, and once Ian and I, um, had more conversations of just how it is possible, I feel like it took me about 2 to 3 months to then get over that, and then I found myself honestly just getting excited. I think the excitement overweighed the nerves at that point, so
Yes. Well, I think that's normal. I feel like 2 to 3 months is actually, like, relatively short.
you think?
Yeah, I think it is because I feel like even towards the end of my pregnancy, once it was becoming, like, quote unquote real and they were going to arrive soon, I
Mhm.
feel like I started feeling some, like, panicky emotions again. So I feel like for me too, doing research was, like, a big thing. And I feel
Yeah.
like I exhausted and, like, utilized every podcast about twins that existed. Like, I listened to every episode, and
Yes.
so many
Yeah.
things, like, it wasn't updated, or I found this one podcast that I don't think was updated often, so they would have, like, a re-release of an old episode. I'm like, "I already listened to that episode." And I
Right.
was just, like, craving more information, and I feel like connecting with other twin moms who, like, I connected with this one twin mom. She was actually on the podcast, but I met her through a friend. She didn't even live near me, but one of my friends was like, "Oh my gosh, I have a friend from high school who has twins." So she connected
Yeah.
us, and she had had a vaginal delivery. I wanted to hear those positive
Yes.
stories to know it was possible, because I feel
Yeah.
like there wasn't a lot of information out there. And I feel like there's more information now, and I feel like there's actually a lot of really good Instagram accounts. Do you follow, what is her last name? Her first name is
There are
Courtney. Courtney
I
Brenson
might.
Brenson? I'll have to tag you in some of her stuff. Her twins are probably a little older than yours because, yeah, I think they're walking. So she has a toddler
Okay.
first and then twin girls, and she is a
Okay.
twin. So I feel like a lot of
Oh, wild.
her, yeah, I feel like she has a really interesting perspective being a twin. And then she has the same setup that we do with a toddler first and then twins.
Okay,
So
actually, I think I might know is she blonde by chance?
no, she has like dark
Okay.
hair.
Okay, because I
I'll
follow
tag you.
somebody else. Yeah, I follow somebody else that also has she's a twin, and then she's got an older boy and then twin girls, but, um, yes, I tried to like, there was other people too that were like, "Oh, I know somebody that has a toddler and twins," and, like, connected, and, like, if I look back at our text messages, like, it's just, like, endless amounts of voice texts, like and a lot of it is just like, "Okay, am I gonna get through this? Okay, this is normal. This is what I did, and okay, you're not alone, like, we're in this together, and it does pass," and, all the
Yes.
things, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's so nice because I was relying on twin moms when I was pregnant and, like, in the early stages, and then it felt so good to be able to do that. Like, someone would reach out to me and be like, "Hey, my cousin's pregnant." I'm like, "Please give them my number." I would love to
Yes.
talk to them and give them encouragement
Yeah.
and just, like, have honest chats with them. So, I think that's the
Yes.
really cool thing about, like, the twin mom community. I feel like everyone wants to most people wanna, like, encourage everybody, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and we're in this together type thing, and, yeah, and because that's another thing, like, on the relationship side, like, you can't you can't imagine how, like, one baby stretches your relationship thin with your partner. Like, 3 little babies, 2 newborns at once, like, you could have the healthiest relationship, it's gonna stretch you thin. Like, it's going to test, like, everything all at once, and, um that's a whole other layer to adapting as a new family. And because
Mhm.
like, suddenly, like, it's like, Ian and I talked, like, we can hardly have a conversation together because the second we start talking, the toddler's losing it or the babies are losing it, and we laugh, we're like, "Okay, we'll talk at bedtime for,
Yes.
the hour that we have," but sometimes we just wanna lay in bed and stay silent because what the heck happened today?
Mhm. Totally.
So
And that's, like, another reason that I'm so grateful I had a singleton first because I feel like David and I feel like we really struggled through that. It was a weird time, it was COVID. I feel like
yeah.
it just was a stressful time, and then I was struggling with postpartum depression, and we really bumped heads a lot and kind of worked through
Yep.
that and were able to, like, strengthen our relationship, but we really butted heads, and I don't think we were
Mhm.
working as, like, the best team. And, he worked a
Mhm.
lot, and I was alone a lot. And I think I had looking back at that, I think I had some resentment about that, which isn't necessarily
Mhm.
fair. Like, it wasn't like he was
Right.
out partying, he was working?
Right.
Um, so I'm glad we were able to kinda, like, work through that and be better communicators, and, of course, we still struggled with the having all 3, but I feel like we were like, "Okay, we've done this before, we're better communicators now," and I do think
Right.
going from 0 to 1 was harder on us than going from 1 to 3.
Yeah, totally, it was us too. I mean, I we had a similar experience too, and I just feel like when you've got like, it's such a special bond when you're with your high school sweetheart. I mean, it is. It's like a very special bond. At the same time, you have all this history together, you're best friends, and so sometimes Ian and I joke, like, we almost, like, bicker and argue like we did or like kids because we've been together since we were kids.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think that that's a total normal dynamic to have, like, when your husband's working and if you're the one that's with the kids, like, during the day and you're the default parent. I mean, I just think that there is, like, natural resentment that happens, and I think it's just to your point about communicating and because everybody's working, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's just everybody's pulling their weight a different way.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's, like, a big thing that we talk about is, like, you know, a stay-at-home mom might not have she might not be bringing in financial resources, but she is helping in so many other ways? And
Right.
have you seen that, like, the cost of a stay-at-home mom, and it's like she's
Yeah.
the care provider, like the childcare, the house
Yeah.
cleaner, the chef, and it's like how much she's actually, like, quote unquote saving your family. So
Yes.
I feel like we
Yeah.
both very much try to look at it that way. And I feel like I've gotten so much better about, and maybe this is like from having 3 kids or like age maturity, but instead of him saying something and it like rubbed me the wrong way and then I'll just be rude for an hour, I will
Yeah.
try. I'm not great, but I will try to immediately be like, That sounded kinda rude to me," and then he'll be like, "Oh, it did?" And a lot of the time he's
Yeah.
like, "I didn't mean it like that," and I'm like, "Okay, could you
Yeah.
say it to me in a nice tone?" And he was like, "I
Yeah.
thought I was being nice," but I'm like, it didn't need to turn into this hour thing where I'm, like, giving him the
Yes.
silent treatment instead of just being like, "Is something wrong?" Or 'cause that sounded rude to me, and most of the time he
Totally.
was like, I don't even know what you're
Had no
talking about,
idea.
Jess. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like,
Yes.
"Okay,
Yeah.
well, at least we can, like, shake it off and move on, and I don't think that you're, like, actually mad or something."
Right. And it's just, yeah, it's a whole it's learning how to communicate. And one thing that Ian and I learned in therapy too is like checking it. So we process things completely different, like most people in relationships do. And like I kind of want to like resolve the issue, like kind of right then and there, whereas like Ian needs like to table it and like revisit. And so
Mhm.
we've talked a lot about like having like emotional just like emotional reassurance of like, hey, can we talk about this right now or do you need some time?
Mm, yes.
And so yeah, but Ian also works from home 3 days out of the week, which is kind of an interesting balance because he's home, and so I'm like, "Hey, can you hold the bo or can you feed one of the kids while I go do this?" And he's like, I mean, yeah, I can." Like, I would never, like, say no, but, like, I have work to do. So we're figuring that out, like, he's because he is around 3 days out of the week, but he's working in the home office.
Right.
And then it's hard for him, like, when he hears the boys losing it to, like, not step in, and it's a lot. He'll be done with school too, so he's getting his master in architecture,
Oh,
on
that's
top of
awesome.
working full time. So,
Mm,
yeah, we've just
that's a
it's a
lot
lot.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a lot, but it's temporary, like, it's a 3-year program, he's got a year left. So, again, it's just, like, perspective, and it's just I was talking about my mom with this yesterday, like, I'm a I'm a pretty positive person, like, I'm very optimistic, but, like, it's okay to, like, have a space to just know, like, this is just hard, and, like,
Mhm.
it's not as fun sometimes, like, and that's okay. Like, I always have rosy-colored glasses, but and I think it's good to be like that, but I also think that there's, like, 2 things can be true. You can be happy, and you can also be like, "Oh my gosh, this is, like, really heavy all at once."
Totally. I wanted to say that earlier. Like I love that quote, two things can be true at the same time. You can
Right.
love being a mom, love your children so much and also be like this is hard because it is hard.
Mhm, mhm.
And that's okay to feel both of those things at the same time.
Yes, it doesn't mean that, you don't love your kids or you don't love the life that you have. It's just it is what it is, and I think that it took me having the twins to realize that, like, it is hard. Like, this is not something that, like, everybody can relate to because it's true just having, like, Irish twins or saying, like, "Oh, I had 2 under 2, so I basically had twins," and that definitely I'm not, like, not acknowledging that, like, that is hard. Um, but having multiples is just a different type of hard.
Mhm. Yeah. It's just different. Like I don't know what it's like to have 2 under 2, but I know what it's like to have 3 under
Right.
3. And it was really hard.
Yeah.
So, but I
That's
promise
just
it gets
crazy that you're
easier.
Yeah, I'm holding on to that. I really am because I'm definitely very much so. It's funny when you reached out to me to schedule the podcast, it was pretty shortly after I had the twins, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have this under my belt by then. Like this is like it's gonna be good." And like yesterday, I'm like crying to my husband as we're eating like noodles and company in the kitchen, and I'm like, I have my noise canceling headphones on because the boys are screaming, and I've just had like such a bad day. And, I'm like, "How am I supposed to do this podcast tomorrow? Because, like, I'm struggling." And he's like, "But babe, this is it. Like, this is the realness of it." Like,
Mhm.
and Jess is gonna, acknowledge that, like, she's been there too. So, it is what it
Well,
is.
okay, so my daughter is almost 6 and a half, and, the boys turned 3 yesterday, and I just
Wild.
promise it gets easier. Like, you haven't even reached the point yet where, like, all 3 of your kids are playing together. It's
No.
like, it's
Yeah.
hard. I don't think parenting ever gets easy, right? I think it gets
Right.
more manageable and, like, things change. Like, I don't know how well you're sleeping right now. Like, I know I wasn't
Not
sleeping
well.
great. I wasn't sleeping great when my boys were 5 months old. Like, we were up all the time, like, pumping, bottle
Yeah.
feeding, changing diapers. It just so I was
Yeah.
so tired, and I think that you can handle a lot of things when you've slept better, and not
Yeah.
having, like, this uninterrupted sleep. So I think that's just one thing, and then I feel like I guess your boys are kind of like getting out of the newborn phase, but they are still infants. And I feel like with
Yeah.
infants, you give a lot more than you are receiving. Like even with your toddler,
Totally.
like even when there's like hard moments and they're having tantrums, like their personalities are shining and you have all of these like positive interactions with them. And
Yeah.
hopefully the positive interactions are outweighing those like really hard ones where I feel like with
Yeah.
infants, it's just like you're giving and giving so much in that age, which is so normal, but you're not
Yeah.
getting a lot back. And that is
Yeah.
just tiring and hard. And it gets better. And I promise when they all play together, of course, like my kids all fight too. But
Yeah.
like, that's something that we're managing, you know? But when they
Yeah.
all play together, oh my gosh, it's the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah.
It's so good. So I promise it gets more manageable, and I really feel like the first year, you're just, like, really in the thick of it. So I just
Yeah.
appreciate you taking time to come chat with me, and,
Yeah.
like, it feels
Absolutely.
hard because it is hard, you know?
Yeah, that is so true, and that's something just to, like, acknowledge and, like, like, to your point, there are 5 months, and I think about it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, they're almost half of a year. Like, so and I know that after the first year, it gets better. It just sometimes feels like time goes by so slow when you're not getting sleep and still trying to learn, even though they're twins, they're completely different
Uh-huh.
people, just like you're twins and just
Yes.
like everybody else's twins. They're just they are 2 completely different humans with different needs and, um, all the things, but yeah, thanks for having me. I feel like we could talk all day.
I know, for sure. Okay, so we're almost at the hour mark.
I feel like we talked about a lot of the things that were, like, true to my story. I think I wanted to hit on, like, it's okay to rest and just, like, validate that, like, when
Mhm.
you're carrying 2 babies at once, like, just existing is enough. Um,
Yes.
Coming from somebody who just, like, has a lot of, like, guilt, and I also find a lot of joy in, like, being active, but I feel like I had to switch my perspective and, like, my lifestyle to, like, a slower lifestyle, which was hard for me, and so I just wanted to encourage other moms, like, it's okay to slow down and that prioritizing rest is working too.
Mhm.
It's hard to do sometimes when you're such a go, go, go person. I wanted to hit on, like, the relationship part because that was just, like, really real for us, like, just navigating the woes of responsibilities and everybody's working differently, but still together and all of that.
First of all, the stuff you can cover in 1 hour, it always impresses me, things you can talk about. And then 2, like, how many more episodes we could have. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we could have a whole episode about," like, we didn't even really get to talk about your losses, like, we could have a whole about that. We could have a whole episode about postpartum depression. We could have a whole, we could we could talk forever. So, if you could have a heart to heart with a twin mom or give her a piece of advice, what would you tell her?
Oh, man, I would just hopefully I could give her a big hug and just tell her that it's all gonna be okay, and truly, truly, the joy does outweigh everything else. Like, I am in constant awe of
Mm,
these 2 boys that I grew and am gonna continue to grow with myself, and similar to you, like, we didn't picture this big family of ours, and we have it, and I honestly feel I went from feeling like, "Oh my gosh, why me?" to, like,
mm,
I'm really happy that this is me. Like,
mhm.
this is a part of like, my story here in this lifetime, and, yeah, I can't wait to get to know my kids and all their different quirks and what they're interested in, and the places that they'll go and they'll take us, and yeah, I I look around at our life and, like, in our house, and I think, like, how full is this and crazy, but also I'm glad that this is our life, so I would just give her a hug and tell her that it's gonna be way more joyful than you could ever imagine.
Mm. So true. And like I said, I feel like we have a lot of similarities in our story, and I just couldn't agree more about that. This is not what I pictured. And now that I have it, I just can't imagine my life any other way. So,
It's somebody that I talked to when I found out that I was having twins, she was just like, "You're one of the chosen ones, like, the
mm,
universe, like, chose you to be a twin mom, and, that, like, not everybody can do this, but you can." And that was powerful to me, so
hmm, yeah, I love that. Mm.
I
Well, thank you
know.
so much. I know, like we were saying, like, you're just really in the thick of it, and your boys are only 5 months old. And I just really appreciate you taking the time out to come chat with me. So, thank you so
Yeah,
much, Brie. And if people want to connect with
thank
you,
you.
can you share like your socials, or if you want to do that?
Yeah, so it's just at Brie Simmons, my first and last name, and I'm constantly sharing all the realness of everything, the good and bad, and trying to connect with other people too. So thank you for having me on.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, girl. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy twin mom life to listen along. I hope this podcast shed some light on a topic that's been on your heart and gave you more confidence as a twin mama. If you know a twin mom, please send this her way. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Check out the show notes to be connected with today's guest and get discount codes for brands I love. See you next Thursday. Until then, you were made for this.